a loved one is never easy. The time following a death is often filled with emotional turmoil, chaos, and change.
For adults and children alike, grieving is an important part of accepting that a loved one has died, dealing with difficult feelings, and of course saying goodbye.
Let's have a look at this situation and get some tips on how we can cope with grief and begin the journey towards recovery after loss.
Dealing with the death of a loved one can be traumatic for even the most mature adult. But when you have to live with loss as a teenager, your world can spin out of control very quickly. Emotions can flood over you, leaving you frantic to go on with your daily life. The important thing to remember when you're learning to live with loss is to accept that life will be different, but to remember that you are still alive and still have a life to live, no matter what.
Losing someone that you love is probably one of the most stressful experiences that you've ever experienced in your life. According to psychologists, when they've measured all kinds of stressful events that somebody could ever experience, losing someone that you love would rank number 2. When you lose someone that you love, you're going to experience a whole range of high intensity to low intensity to varied types of emotions. You probably get into a stage of shock at first, then you move into denial, probably anger, and then deep sadness. And no matter what people tell you, that eventually you're going to get over it, or time and tide will heal everything, you never really recover from the loss of a loved one. There will always be a scar. And now, what can we do about this? One of the things that you want to do in this stage is to do whatever it is that you want to do. As long as you're not a harm or threat to yourself and to somebody else, how you decide to grieve is totally up to you. Don't let anybody tell you what you should be doing, how you should be grieving. It is purely your prerogative as to how you choose to grieve at this. My only advice to you is that if you ever lose a loved one, and unfortunately you will experience this at least once in your lifetime, my only advice to you would be, number 1, when somebody you love passes on, there are typically 2 types of reactions. One group of people would tend to isolate themselves. They would probably not want to be around anybody at all. They would find themselves trying to cope and deal with it on their own. This is probably not a recommended approach of grieving at all. One of the many ways to ensure that you grieve well and that you come out of this grieving smoother would be that you surround yourself with people that you love. Research suggests that if you stay away from people, then it is likely that you're going to get a lot of adrenaline pumped into your body, and that's going to create a lot of toxicity for you in your life. You don't have to deal with it alone. Research also suggests that if you actually open up your arms, hug somebody in the process of grieving, it is likely that you're going to release a special, beautiful chemical called oxytocin, which is a love drug. And Sheryl Sandberg, who is a very famous lady, she's also the COO of Facebook. She had this to say when she lost her husband. She said that even in the darkest of moments, in the worst of challenges, in the loss of a loved one, you can still choose to decide that you can find meaning that is valuable from you from that event. So make sure that you surround yourself with people. That's number 1. Number 2, the other thing that you can do is so you've got all this energy, all these emotions, all this negativity within you, that grief, and you can use all the energy and translate it into something constructive. So a lot of people in this world, what they end up doing is that they either sit down and mourn, or they stand up and decide to put all this energy into something creative. One of the very important things that you can do now is to make sure that you get out and about. It is a fact that the longer you take to grieve, the longer you stay out of your normalcy, the more difficult it is to go back to your new life. So please make sure one of the important things that you do is to try to get out and about again soon. You're watching Viv It Up!